Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Desiree Goldey, the founder of Do Better Consulting, joining us. Desiree will be sharing more about her founding story and giving us a glimpse into her plans for future growth. So let's jump straight in. Desiree, welcome to Founders Future.
Oh my God, Olivia, I'm so glad to be here. I
Awesome.
can't say enough about it. So I'm super, super excited. I always want to talk about my journey, which is always super funny, right?
It is.
How the journey happens and what happens next. So I'm excited to
E-
talk.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning of the journey
Sure.
then. What specific problem inspired you to start Do Better Consulting?
Yeah, I think, you know what is funny is that I didn't know that I wanted to start it, but I knew that I wanted to start it, if that makes any sense. Like it was in my head. And so what always happens with founders, I think, and entrepreneurs is that we find a way to make this happen. Right? We say, oh my gosh, we wake up one morning and we're like, oh my God, we should do this. And so that becomes super important to us. But I do think for Do Better, for me, it was more of a passion project.
Love that.
And how do you get to passion? How do you feel invested in something? And for me, that was a really big deal for me. Right? It was like, how do we get the end line of what is your passion? And that was really important to me.
Awesome, amazing. And what problem was you looking to solve with Do
Oh,
Better
yeah.
Consulting?
Yeah. So I was looking to solve the leadership problem. Mhm. And I always say this about how the world works right now is that leadership is crazy, right? And so how we think about and divest leadership and how we're not thinking about empathy and authenticity. And as we move through the steps, Do Better was started from like a passion thing, but it was also, I wanted to solve the problem of how leadership didn't work in organizations. And if leadership didn't work in organizations, why am I so mad if I don't solve the problem? It's been a great journey and I'm super excited to try to solve it.
Awesome. So talk us through that off your evaluation a little bit. How has
Yeah.
what you sell and who you sell to changed since you
Yeah.
started?
Yeah. So I have been selling to individuals.
Awesome.
So as you think about who comes to me is that leader is who's in middle management, who says, I don't know what to do next. And if you think
Gotcha.
about how you do next in middle management, it's very tough because you come from an IC and you have to move to a middle manager. And so as you think about that course of your trajectory and your course of your career, you're coming to me right at the middle. And why you're coming to me is also because I'm gonna a little bit of solve your problem. I'm gonna little say, what are you doing right now? And how is it helping you move your career forward? And what's not happening now? And so those are really important questions as we move through the journey. And so that's super important to me. I also think it's super important as someone who is trying to move forward their career.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And Olivia, you know this. I think you've been doing this long enough. If someone says to you, I'm right here, I can move to the next step, I can be promoted, I can do all of those things, but something's stopping me. I'm here how you get out of this stopgap, almost.
Awesome. So you're there to help me push through what is stopping me, to help me
Yes.
find that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, I'm the push.
got it. Love it.
I am the push.
Awesome. So talk to me about your background a little bit. So what was you in before and what
Yeah.
helped you with
You
that
know what's
experience?
funny? I always talk to people about how I got into this career and how I curated my journey. But I'm going to tell you, I fell into this. It wasn't real for me. It didn't make sense to me until I was a middle manager, right?
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
sitting in the seat one day, because by the way, I worked for a very big company, and they were like, "Here, you're gonna do all these things." And I was like, "I don't really want to do any of those things." And so someone put that on me, and I said, "Wow, so many middle managers probably have the same problem, right? If I'm moving from an IC to this job, how do we get to this job?" And then I started talking and networking because I think I'm really good at networking. Please tell me in my network if I'm not good, but and I think I'm really good at networking. And then networking became my thing, and I was like, oh wow, everybody sucks at this. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
everybody's not really good at this. So my journey went from a college really big degree to hospitality to a
Hmm.
really big company to and then saying, how do we get into talent and recruiting? Because we got there. I don't know how we got there, but we did get there. And it was a journey of many little steps. And I encourage your listeners to say this one thing. There can be a lot of little steps to get where you need to be, right?
Love that.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna get there because it's
Yeah.
a lot of little steps to get where you need to be. And at the end of the day, you'll still get there.
Awesome. I love it. So it's all come from personal experience and you being that middleman in the middle and
Yeah,
needing someone help to push you, break you through that wall. And now that's you
absolutely.
pushing everyone else
Absolutely.
through. Love that
Absolutely.
completely.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. And I suppose every founder in their journey obviously has moments where they almost give up. Did you have one and how did you push through it?
Oh my God. Wow, I've had so many. But I do want to say that let me back up a little bit and say that my founder journey, wow, this, oh my God, I'm gonna almost cry for you, Olivia. The founder journey has been exhausting, but what I do want to say is that there are financial moments, there are Desiree in her head moments, there are those moments that you literally want to say, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this. But we're all of that. We are all of that.
100%.
We are so much of that. And I actually want to talk a little bit about being a woman in this space. I am a woman in this space, and founders as women are we constantly like get this thing in our head. Please
Yeah.
don't do that. We are so smart. We are so good. We are so this. We are so present. Let's do the present thing. And I
Yeah.
think we get wrapped up in our heads a little bit and we keep twisting it up. But for me as a founder, for me, and I will tell you this is a funny story. My partner always tells me that I'm really not good at financials or really horrible at it, right? But that's the one thing I couldn't do, right? So I had to figure out how I did that financial thing and then move forward from the other things, right? Because I was a great
Hmm.
thinker, I was great at all these other things. I wasn't really good at the financials. And so I had to figure that out. And by the way, as a founder, you just have to sit in your moment and take some space. I want you to take a minute and sit with yourself and say, okay, I'm not great at that. I'm not great at that. But also sit with yourself and say, tomorrow is going to be the best day of my life. Because guess what? I'm doing this thing for me. And
Love
this
that.
thing feels amazing.
Mm,
It feels
does.
good. It feels almost expressive in a weird way, right? And so if we allow ourselves to do that thing, let's do it. Right?
Do it. I
Absolutely.
feel like
Let's
what you're saying and touching on that a little bit, we are our own worst nightmares sometimes. We put
Correct.
the fears in there before they've even happened, and we're bringing that
Right.
upon ourselves when we should just jump in and move forward. And I feel like we have a lot of listeners that will be able to relate to that
Yeah.
and take on that little piece of wisdom that you've just put out there.
I love
So,
it.
walk us through, how are you currently pushing Do Better Consultancy? How are you getting yourself out there?
Yeah.
How are you acquiring customers and clients that are looking
Yeah.
to
So
help?
I'm doing all the things right now, but social media, I will tell everybody for whatever reason or the wrong reason is the reason to do something else. I know that sounds just like super confusing, but social media right now for me is how you get in front of customers, how you do clients. It's how you get to the end game. Just like we're
Hmm.
talking, me and you, Olivia, we're talking about how I got to the end journey. This is what you need to be doing. You need to put yourself out there and say, this is what I'm going to do. And this may feel horrible, right? It could feel confusing. I'm an extrovert, introvert, but I feel like people don't really want to put themselves out there. Please put yourself out on the spectrum of whatever this thing is, right? LinkedIn, if it's Instagram, if it's whatever, please put yourself forward because I do think it's how I'm moving my business forward. It's how other people can move their business forward. And the only reason I even have clients is from networking from those plans. So please do it. Sign up. Let me know if you need my help.
Love that completely. You even mentioned earlier that you wasn't so good at networking, but I've caught on. I think you are. You know what you're doing. Um,
I'm trying.
so
Oh, yeah.
talk us through a little bit what that process looks like. So once we've made contact and someone's been in
Yeah.
touch with you,
So, oh,
how does
please.
that work?
Yeah. So for me, I have a lot of group and communities. So I have Talent Collective. I have me on LinkedIn, which is my biggest thing. Please connect on LinkedIn. If you want to see me, I'm Desiree Goldey on LinkedIn. If you want to see Instagram, I'm Recruiter Gold. Like there's a million places to see me. And I think you should see yourself in those moments, right? Please see yourself in those moments. And it may feel, I just want to go back to this 1 second because it may feel a little bit oppressive, right? As you're doing it, you're like, oh my God, I'm putting my picture out. But please do that thing. But please contact me on LinkedIn. Please see me on Instagram. Please see me. I don't really do Facebook anymore, but please see me on those spaces.
Now, what would what is your biggest bottleneck in terms of growth right now?
Yeah, I think the bottleneck is where we're at and this is not probably as relevant for you, but it's relevant in the United States. If we stop holding on to the impression that everybody needs to sell something yesterday. It's almost that hustle culture. We're so happy to be part of that hustle culture that we're not clicking the button. And so I would like for people to be less confused about the hustle culture and be more engaged in human interaction. And
Yeah, I
that's
love
my
that.
bottleneck.
Yeah, it's a bottleneck on a big scale, and I
Yeah,
think it's more relatable all over the world and not just in the States.
yeah,
And it's affecting a lot of people, a lot of founders out there that will be listening can identify with that one as well.
yeah,
So, in terms of Go Better Consulting, how is the team structured? What does that process look like? We obviously
yeah,
touched on social media.
yeah.
What forms of marketing functions are we using? What's the sales process?
Yeah.
Talk us through that stuff a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, it is very social media driven, but it also is my team. So I have a social media strategist. I also have a content writer. And so that looks, I'm not doing all the work, right? And so I always think people think I'm doing all the work, but I'm not doing all the work, right? There's somebody behind me saying, Desiree, you're a great writer, but you should have these people behind you. And so we're doing that as well. I do have 3 team members right now, and as a founder, that's huge. Startup wise, if you think about how you bring something to market, you think about, oh my God, it just be me. And that's not real for me. I actually have 2 people behind me. So it's really exciting to think about the fact that I keep adding people to my team, and that's, I can't, it's so exciting for me. And as you look at the content on Do Better, or you think about how we're going to market on social media, that's not me, that's somebody else.
That's amazing. And where do you see Do Better going, say
Yeah,
within the next 6 to 12 months? What are the growth priorities?
I would love it to be everything. I would love it to be better than it is. I just started a podcast with my friend Ashley King, who does DEA Labs. I think I want it to be bigger than bigger. I want to not do the corporate thing. If we think about how we do corporate life, it makes me almost upset, right? That we're really sitting in the dream of corporate in the United States. And
Hmm.
I don't want in the States. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be really present to make sense for how we do work very differently. And that means remote work, that means how we do business social media wise, that's how we do business from a very, like, how you look at talking to me as a business owner. And founders, I think founders are great right now in the United States. We have a lot of traction, and we should just be doing all the things we should be doing. And
Love that.
I don't think we're doing it enough, right? I think we should
We're
be out there and be present.
awesome. Present in the moment and doing what we can. Just do it. Seems to be a theme running through it so far,
I'm
which is
sorry,
cool
I'm
and
taking
great.
you saying, just do it. Just do it. Just do all
So,
the things.
so what is currently stopping you from just do it and
Hmm.
scaling faster and taking you to the next
Yeah,
level?
money, resources, time. Because time,
Mm.
I was just talking to my wife about this the other night, and I was like, time is my biggest factor that I can't get around, right? I don't have enough time in a day, right? But how do we get around time and resources and all these things? I factor in a little bit more time, and I factor in a little bit more planning and thinking about what is going to happen to the next step. And I think if you can plan how you do it, you'll be super successful. And that's time. It's all about time. Every day, every moment is about time. And it's
Yeah,
not,
100%.
sorry.
No, 100% time is precious, and
Yeah.
having a good setup and a good, I suppose the best word to be would be like timetable and
Yeah.
regimented and good to go. So we're
Yeah.
not wasting time and we're putting the efforts in the right places.
Yeah. But this is also about, like, how do we figure out time when we're sitting in a seat, right? Like, I'm sitting in the seat right now, I'm doing a lot of things, but how does time figure into my actual day? Like, if it's 5 minutes, if it's 20 minutes, how do I actually capture that time and say, what is that use of that time? Because I can do it in 20 minutes, right? I'm really good at doing 20 minutes of time. But what does that mean in my actual career as a founder? What does that mean for my clients? How does that make me move forward? And I think those are the things we need to think about. If we're not thinking about time, what are we thinking about?
Right. What
Right.
are we thinking about?
What are we
Um,
thinking about?
I suppose, yeah, what are we thinking about?
Yeah.
So apart from time, what would be
Yes.
one tool or one resource that would be a big game changer in the consulting businesses at the moment?
Yeah, so for me, it is how you lead forward and thinking about who you are as a leader and who you are as a person, because I think that's super important. Like, I have seen so many leaders, that part of my consulting business is doing this, right? How do you move forward as a person, right? What is important to you? What is your passion? What do you need? What do you need from respect of, if you're sitting watching Netflix and binge watching shows, right? Whatever you think, what makes you feel good? Right? What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel like this is the moment I need to have? And that for me as a founder is how I move forward. That's how people should move forward. And I truly believe if you've got that figured out, you have everything figured out.
What
I
do you need?
truly believe that.
So, I suppose, and then to finish off, what would be the
Yeah.
best piece of advice you've received about scaling a business?
Oh, so someone sat with me, this had to be probably 3 months ago, and said, "You're not doing it right." I was like, "What do you mean I'm not doing it right?" And they said, "Because you're not scaling through revenue versus people versus time." That it just, everybody should put that in like an equation. Revenue,
Hmm.
people, time, right? And if you
Yeah,
figure out that equation, you got it sold. But I wasn't
revenue
doing that.
people time.
Revenue, people, time, every single time, right? And that was the one thing stopping me from scaling. So it was great.
But be clear, have structure, and know where to
Yes.
put your priority and your time.
So- See,
Know what you're
you
good at
got it,
and move it
Olivia.
forward. We've got it. All
Moving
the listeners out there
forward.
will be taking that and running with it, I feel. So I'm going to throw another one in there. What advice would you give to founders who are just starting their journey?
So I would take some time for self. The one thing I probably didn't do really greatly was like take some time and say, here is where I'm sitting with this. Here's where I want it to go. Here is what the passion feels like. And where actually do I want to get to? Because I think there's a moment that you think you're going to do all the things, right? You think you're going to be a super founder of all the things. And then, but you don't. You have to stop yourself and say, this is my passion. Here's when I want to go. And I'm going to go back to revenue, time, and people, right? Is
Mhm.
it revenue, time, and people? If it's not that, then I actually want you to question yourself a little bit. But I want you to sit with yourself. And if you could sit with yourself for, I even said to a friend of mine, sit for an hour with your whole being. Just sit for an hour and just have a quiet mind. That is how you get to how you be a founder every day.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. Be with yourself, know what you're doing, and know where you're going. Amazing.
I want all
So,
those things. I want those 3 things. I want you to write them down for me.
love that. And that's a wrap on another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Desiree for sharing her incredible journey and insight with us today. And to all our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via whatever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.